So I was talking about combining lock line with 3/4 inch PVC pipe. And so here's an example of creating a mount that the iPad slides into. And so it's in that horizontal track. And the lock line on the back is adjustable, so I can change the angle. And I'm going to show you what the back looks like. But here we've got a dual mounting arm, and these bar clamps are really strong. There is no way you're going to bend this steel bar. You're just not going to bend this steel bar. So this is going up in the center, so that's not going to bend. We've got the PVC pipe that's shaped over, so we've got a nice solid mount, and we've got 2 of these on the back. And the only way to get this to slide is you got to get your finger around the back to slide the bar back and forth. So this is a very strong, inexpensive mount when you have 2 of these. So let's take a look at, this is what it looks like on the back. So if you look at the PVC pipe, what we have is we've got it made out of Instamorph, and it slides up and down. Now we have the U-mount. Remember I was showing you with the corner guard overlapping? So we've got 2 tracks so that it drops in. So it is solid. If he pulls on the left or pulls on the right, there's no way he can pull that off, because when it slides down, it hits the top of the bar. So it is like really, really strong. And VHB is rated at 4 pounds per square inch. So the amount of VHB tape that I have, I can withstand 80 pounds of force. So if he has 80 pounds in terms of trying to be able to yank that off. So 80 pounds pulling this way would be quite challenging. So this, finally, the school is like really happy because they finally found something that he cannot tear off. So the other nice thing about that is, see how I've gone and I've connected the 2? And I put some Velcro because I wanted to connect or attach other items that he could interact with, he could grip, he could take off if he wanted to. And then I took, instead of corner guard, and I'm recommending that you all just go with the corner guard, I took one of those little Spitfire torches. I took a piece of acrylic and I heated it and rolled it around to create the track instead of using corner guard. Corner guard is so much easier than taking a little torch and you got to go up and down and heat it up, and then you got to bend it and you're at risk of burning yourself, versus creating the track that I was showing you up here with black corner guard just overlapping. So much easier, just as strong. Go that route, and then mount it on a piece of acrylic. Here's an example of the iPad Pros now with the snap-on electric folio, magnetic folios. You can't put Velcro, you can't stick anything on the back of anybody's iPad because it interfaces or interrupts the, it uses a magnet on the back that snaps into the keyboard tray type of thing. So I had to create a whole track that the iPad can just slide into. And so that's what I did there. So this is another angle of showing how, see that foam wedge? Before that foam wedge, his elbows and arms were getting so beat up, leaning on that hard wheelchair tray. By taking, there's a company called MacGyver Solutions, and they make these really nice soft wedges that you can lean on. And so we have a combination of the iPad resting on top too, and sliding. We've got this whole thing that can slide up and down, but because the weight is on the center, it's not going to go boom. So just another cool thing. Yes. So what, the piece of black Velcro? Yeah, so those, it slides up and down that white tube. So I can slide it up higher and tilt it further in, or I can slide it down, because on the back of it, We can look at where's the back. Here we go. See, I went and first I only put one lock line link, and then I decided to add another link behind there. So I wanted the teachers to have more adjustability on the angle. And the other part is the longer the moment, or the longer the arm that goes out, the more it loses. It becomes a little, yeah. So that's why I wanted the angle up, but I also didn't want, so a rule of thumb is that when you're mounting something, you don't want it to be way out here. You don't want it to be here. You want it to be toward their end reach, but not at their end reach. So looking at, okay, where's your end reach? Okay, we've got to bring it 2 inches closer. And that's what was nice. There was the RAM mounts, and the RAM mounts wouldn't bring it close enough to the student. And that's what's great by combining lock line with Instamorph, with PVC pipe, with a quick grip clamp, is you can get the best of all worlds. You get your complete height adjustable, angle adjustment, and rigidity going with a dual arm mount made this way. Yes. Okay, so from a physics standpoint, your weight is out here. So your weight is offset. So when you put something in and it comes down, what does it do to the tube? It kinks it up. And when it kinks it up, it can't slide down. The only way it can slide down is if you shift the weight over physically and slide it. But when the weight's on there, it locks in. So the only way is we have to shift the weight manually to bring it up. So we have to take it off and we have to adjust one on one side, one on the other side, and then remount it. That's the beauty of doing offset mounts, because then it will never drop, which is great. All right. Time to make some more stuff. So the people at home, we're going to do something little creative here for snapping, because the people at home do not have a lock line pliers. And you may not have a lock line pliers also. And so we're going to be making this mounting solution, and that has multiple uses for this. So we're going to take that bag, we're just going to take the contents out. Now mine's a little bit different, but most of yours is just a piece of acrylic. All right. So you all have a fairly about, 6 to 9 inch or 8 inch piece of acrylic. It's scrap acrylic. So what happened during COVID was in the cafeterias, do you remember that everybody had these partitions? And these partitions would get knocked off the edge of the cafeteria and they would fall and they would crack. And they got all thrown into a big dumpster, all of this acrylic. Now, 1/4 inch acrylic is really expensive. So if you were to go to the store and buy a piece of 1/4 inch acrylic, the lowest price you're going to pay right now is $35 for the smallest sheet of acrylic. Now, that sheet of acrylic, you can take an acrylic cutter and you can cut it down, and you can probably get 2 or 3 sheets or 3 pieces out of it. So a piece like this, that's 1/4 inch acrylic, right? After you pay the $35 for that sheet, you're looking at maybe $12, $15 for this piece of acrylic. So what I did was I took that all home from the dumpster. I stuck it all in the dishwasher at 180 degrees. I then took a table saw, because this is like gold, this is like really expensive stuff. Cut it all down, but I want you to feel the edges. All right, so how did we smooth off the edges? we smoothed off the edges was with a torch. And I would heat the torch up. I'd also use deburring. And the reason I want you to have acrylic, because acrylic you can't bend. Corrugated plastic you could bend. So I wanted something that was solid, that wasn't going to bend, right? I wanted something that was affordable, because having to buy these like for $15 and then having to do all that work. And one of the things I wanted to comment on was that thank you for acknowledging it's a lot of work putting together these kits. It's a lot of labor, right, that goes into it. And so I'm telling you at this workshop, oh, you can do that 5 minutes or less, right? Oh, you can, and you can if the material is prepped for you, right? So then I looked at that. I started surveying. I do these workshops. I do about 70 a year, believe it or not. I'm on a plane a couple times a week. So when we do these workshops, I go back and I interview people, like, what did you use from the workshop? What did you, and did you make any more? And why not? Why aren't you making? And what they said was there were 2 reasons why when you go back, you're not going to make. Actually, a third, right? There's a concern about liability. That's one, but that's not the number one reason. The number one reason was time. They said, for me, so time and money, but time is that for me to go to Home Depot and get the material, they're not going to sell you 8 inches of acrylic. And even if they sold you 8 inches of acrylic, you would still have to deburr and round off the edges, right? So that would take some time. They're not going to sell you 2 inches of tape. They're going to sell you a whole roll of tape. And before you know it, you have $100 worth of material. But let's say you want the school to pay for it, God forbid, right? They're going to ask, oh, we got to get a purchase order. Oh, we have to get a purchase order from Staples. Now we got to get one for Home Depot, and then you have to go back and get it. And then it comes back, and now you have to prep it all up. So I did something wicked cool that made a huge difference in outcome. So one day I was sitting at the breakfast table, and you get this junk mail, right? And what did I get? I got one of those Blue Apron things, right? And it says, pick your meal and you'll get a box on your steps, and it'll have like 2 carrots and a couple of chicken breasts and a recipe. And I'm like, wow, that's really interesting. And then the light bulbs. I was like, oh my God, this is a game changer. Because what we're going to do is we're going to do the Blue Apron approach for assistive technology. So in the book, so people would pick out in the book, they're like, oh, I want to, that one mount with the U-mount, right? Right? Oh, I want to make one of those mounts, right? And so you would say, page 32, I want to make that. So you'd call me up and tell me the number, or you'd send me a text message. By that evening, all of those items and materials would go in a box with a QR code. It would all go out that same day. You would get it within 1 to 2 days. You open up the box, you scan the QR code, and you start putting it together. People put it together. They had no problem spending 5 minutes, and they didn't have to pay a single dime, because the Christopher Reeve Foundation gave me $75,000 to buy all the materials and pay all the postage, all the shipping. And that year, people from these workshops or whatever, they built over 2,000 items. So we were able to show outcomes. So we were like, wow, why can't all state AT programs do that? Set aside some money, or what's the number one reason why people don't donate? What do you think the number one reason why people won't give you money to buy materials? No, number one reason is you didn't ask. The number one reason why people don't give money or don't is you didn't ask, you didn't tell them what you were going to do with their money, and you show that it's an investment. So in the state of Indiana, you have a Tech Act project. And I think it's at Easter Seals Crossroads, I think. So every state has a Tech Act project. And part of your Tech Act project, you can do, instead of alternative finance, you can carve money away for fabrication of devices. So in the state of New Hampshire, that's what we did. And we let schools know that they could build devices. They just have to let us know what they wanted to build. And then we would put the stuff together and empower them. For a while, people were asking me to make all this stuff. Now, I have no problem with making a bunch of things that have never been made before, because I don't know if it's going to work. So the one thing that I made for this kid, that was the third iteration. The first two, not so much. They had to be tweaked. The third one, the district loved it. And because of that third one, now we have more schools asking for more of those. So what do? We get the high school kids, those U-mounts, overlapping the corner guard, right? Making a bunch of those up ahead of time. Just like when you were saying, it's a lot of prep time, right? So I'll say, man, I don't have time to deburr. I need you to deburr 100 of those. I'm on it. I'll do 100 of those. And then I'll say, oh man, I got to cut up all this tape, this Velcro. Can you do that? And we have lots of volunteers who show up and would say, we'd love to. And here's the other, and that is seniors. So I ran into this guy. Have you ever heard of Lindt chocolates? They got the Lindt. Okay. So the company is in New Hampshire. And the guy who's the operation manager, he's deaf. And he decides he's going to employ these high school kids who are deaf. So he employs these high school kids and everything seems to be going. And he's done these modifications, all of that. And then he taught me something. He said, you know what? I started the I Love Lucy line. And so the I Love Lucy, remember the chocolate and you're like stuffing? He said in Exeter, New Hampshire, there are so many elderly people who are feeling social isolated, they're depressed, maybe their husbands or wives had died, and they need to get out of the house. So the Exeter, this company goes around with a school bus and picks them all up at 10 o'clock in the morning. They come in, and it's like usually around Christmas time, and he feeds them all lunch. He doesn't pay them anything for the labor. And what they do for 4 hours is they stuff these boxes with the chocolate, and they talk, and they're allowed to eat as much chocolate as they want. And then at like 2:30 in the afternoon, the bus takes them all home. I was like, oh my God, I've got to do this for assistive technology, right? Have a bus, pick up the seniors, bring them all in, have them prep materials for workshops. At the end of the day, take them all home. I think that's another game changer for AT, the Blue Apron and the I Love Lucy line. So I share these ideas because we can fix this. We can do rapid creation, rapid problem solving, rapid prototyping. And the other cool thing is when we get our youth and our seniors coming together, working side by side and finding some common themes to relate to, is like, I get goosebumps. I'm like, oh my God, this is so awesome. So thank you for letting me share that. Okay, back to this project. Sorry about that. But I wanted you to know where your plastic came from, and I stole yours. Sorry, I'll give it back. Okay. So in your bag of whatnots that is left, you have a piece of U-glue. So it's kind of this square thing. I want you all to grab this piece out. And you're going to notice that this disc, you're going to take your round mounting disc, has nothing on it, right? And you're going to see there's a seam. This is injection molding that they use to produce this piece. And unfortunately, I can't make this piece. This piece is like, I don't know, they're selling it for like $10. But we're going to put our piece of U-glue. We're just going to stick that right on the back. So everybody put your piece of U-glue on the back of your round mounting disc. You've got white. You have white on back. You grabbed the wrong piece. You need your U-glue. You grabbed Remo too. So you need your piece of U-glue. That's white on both sides. Yep. So you're going to peel that off. All right. After, well, we're going to wait till she gets it on her round disc. Nope. In your bag, you've got a square rectangular piece of U-glue. In your bag of whatnots. It was the bag that's got your industrial twist tie in it. Did you take everything out of your bag? But you're missing a piece of U-glue. Well, she's missing a piece of U-glue, so this is a great opportunity. Everybody needs a MacGyver tape kit, because you never know when somebody might need a piece of U-glue. Oh, U-glue, where are you? I found a piece of U-glue in my MacGyver kit. Here we go. Sure. All right, so we're going to peel the backing off here. And we're going to eyeball this and put this right in the middle. All right, the next thing you're going to do is, now for you folks that are at home, I'm going to show you a quick tip. Lisa, I need your assistance, or Jenny, who's ever closest. I want you to grab me a cup of coffee, because I'm going to dip the lock line in the coffee because I have no hot water. So hopefully the coffee is still hot. The rest of you, you need to look at this tool, and it says, one side, it says ball end up. This is your ball end. This is your socket end. Your socket is your wider end. Your ball end is your narrower end. Your ball end has to go into the lower chamber. So everybody stick your ball end into the lower chamber. You're going to share this lock line pliers, okay? And your socket end is going to go on top, and you're going to squeeze the two together, and it should snap right in. But for those of you who are at home, what you're going to do is your socket end. So your socket end, you're going to have a hard time. And the cool thing is that when you dip this into hot water for about 10 seconds, I'm going to put it into a hot cup of coffee. That's not that hot, but okay, I'm going to count to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, thank you. All right, now it's caused this to expand, and now I should be able to just snap the two in. See how it snaps in? Because the hot water caused the socket end to expand, allowing you to physically snap those two pieces together. So everybody's got to put those pieces together. So you can either do it with physically. Yes, are you having a hard time snapping yours? So I'm going to show you an example of what happens when you have to break two of these apart. So I'm going to put a piece of PVC pipe in one end, and so usually I put two pieces of pipe in, but there. So this is, I just broke it apart this way. The pipe gives me some leverage. And this is the first time her socket end busted off. So, but you still have the pliers, right? All right, so where's your pipe? I took it. Can you come up here so I don't have to keep walking back and forth? All right, so hold it this way. Now, no, you have to go down to the bottom. Because that's, if you slide all the way, you get the best leverage. All right, there you go.
Thank you.
All right, the next thing you're going to do is this square. These are the things that I manufacture at my house because I want to do a U-mount. I want to do tracks, and I can't do that with something that's round. But what you could do is find a piece of corrugated plastic if you've got the round discs and just add a piece of corrugated plastic, and then you get something that's square. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to put this on top, and you have to kind of stand up with this, and you're going to keep your body really close to the center of gravity, and you're going to put your entire weight over the top and push down in and snap it in. Now you're going to curl this around like this, because to put this piece on, we don't go straight up and down. So we're going to come in at an angle. So watch what I'm doing here. I'm coming in at an angle. I'm not doing straight, not straight like this one. I've got to come in at an angle. My hand is down here. And so I'm holding it like this, and I'm rocking into it and pushing down. All right. You did it. So you just snap it in there. Yeah. Ah, your hand is up here. Your hand needs to come down here. And are you right-handed?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're going to go with your right hand, hold it like a gun.
Here?
Yep.
Okay.
And then this hand, nope, this hand's going to come all the way down here. Okay,
All the
now.
way down?
Yep,
It's not
now
gonna
push.
pinch it?
Nope, it's not going to pinch, I promise. Come on, you can do it.
No, I can't.
Shift your weight.
Almost.
You did it.
Yay!
Yeah.
You could almost use it.
All right, the next thing is you got a couple of options. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take this rubber band. We're going to put that around the center hole and just showing you, you've got a couple of options for your cell phone, right? So you can, these bands are designed for motorcycles. So you can create a cell phone holder, right, with those bands. You can see the back of it. Yep, you stretch that over. Yeah, the hole. And I want you to see how I bent this, right? So I want my center of gravity to go over the top of my post. So I don't want this out like this because what? It's going to drop, right? Now I can take this and turn this, right? So I can have it this way or this way. Now another thing I can do with it is I can open up like the Seeing AI app or Scan and Read. I could put a document right in front of here. So are all of you familiar with the Seeing AI app? No? Okay. Open Seeing AI.
Short text.
So I've got the Seeing AI app. Okay, and so it can.
Willkomm, PhD, ATP 60.
So see how it's reading this?
Therese, PhD, ATP.
But the Seeing AI app does a really cool thing. It'll read your documents out loud to you, but it does this other really cool thing.
Person.
So I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to.
Two faces.
I'm going to aim it to
One
this
face
person.
here,
Okay.
2 faces, 3 faces.
Okay.
2 processing. Two people detected: 50-year-old woman with blonde hair looking happy, 48-year-old woman with blonde hair looking neutral.
So yes. So it detects. So if you're happy or if you're looking neutral or yes. So it either insults you or it compliments you, which is kind of cool. That's seeing AI.
Zero face, one face.
So it
zero
also
face.
has, you can change in terms of the font size, so I can have it read that document.
Short, a 10-minute. Therese Willkomm, Assistive Technology Solutions.
So it's just, it scans this and reads it.
6846.
So
Info added in menu test.
you don't have to touch anything. It captures the text and it reads it out loud. Now, I can also do something like
Short
this.
text. Document processing.
I can take a picture of it and I should be able to get a text file. So now I have this text file and I can increase the font size, right? Or I can decrease it. So that's kind of cool. I can save it. I can email it to somebody. So it's a free app by Microsoft, but unfortunately it only works with an iPhone. It does not work. They do not have an Android-based model out yet. Apple, yeah, so it's Apple. So you can see, you can use this as a switch mount. Now there's an interface that I put into your kit. So I want everybody to grab your interface. Oh, and you have these rubber feet. So we're going to grab the rubber feet and we're going to grab the interface. So the interface is that I put this interface on the back of this iPad because we don't want to put Velcro directly on somebody's iPad, but we know we can remove U-glue without damaging, right? So it's U-glue on one side of a piece of plastic and loop material on the other side. So some of you have where it's like the transparency film that you can put, you can take this home with you. If you wanted to do this for an iPad, what you have to understand is you just don't stick it. You have to stick it and pull it down because you want it to cinch. So you don't want it to come off. You want it a nice rigid mount. So you put it on and pull down and those hooks lock into the loop. So if you just stick it on, well, it's not going to be as solid. If you stick it and pull for the shear forces to get the hooks to loop and loop to hook into the loop. Does that make sense? All right. So you have an iPad mount, and that's what's really great about Lockline because you can keep twisting it, angling it, turning it, rotating it. And so this is kind of nice is if you can put, now I've discovered that U-glue, so if you do have these cases, U-glue sticks right on the back of these cases. Okay. So I can stick that right here. So you can put an iPad that's in a case. So you have a multi-use mount. You could also put an easel. And one of the things I find is that kids with low vision, their head and neck, they're always bending down in terms of looking. So think about how you can raise things up. So one of the things I came up with was raising things up, was saying, hey, what if I take my slant board, turn it this way and create a track? And we're going to see if we can pull this off with this iPad, which is going to mean I'm going to unplug it. All right. So you're not going to see this, but All right, I don't want to cover up my lens, right? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to rest it right over the top. So now I can sit it at a table in front of a student. So now I've raised the iPad up. You can zoom across the room, but you don't have to bend your head down. You can zoom in and zoom out. So it's just something simple. You saw the horizontal track with the corner guard. So it's just horizontal track with corrugated plastic. And then I just put a paddle on the back that just slides over the mount. So it's like, again, seeing the world upside down, inside out, sideways, backwards, of thinking, how do you raise things up very quickly? Something very simple, easy to do. Remember when I was showing you the iPad flipper? And I showed how I created a track for the iPad to slide into, and I made it out of the corrugated plastic. So that's what I'm doing there. All right, we're going to stick this back on. So this was one of the first things that I had gotten patented. And at lunchtime, we were talking about patents. And I, of course, was so excited when I got a patent on this. And I was the first one at the University of New Hampshire to be awarded a design patent. And when I'm teaching, I like the fact that I can use the camera, right? I can zoom in and zoom out. I like the fact that with this, when you take this home, you're going to rotate it sideways, and now you got something portable. So you don't have to carry it around like that. So you've got a lot of versatility on that. But the problem is when you get a patent on something, it costs like $10,000. It's a quite involved process. You have to have all these drawings and everything. And you're not allowed to teach people how to make it because you're in violation of US patent laws. You're supposed to protect the patent. The reason for a patent is that so nobody else can make it and sell it. And I'm like, but wait, I want all of you guys to make all this stuff. I don't want to hoard that information. And I found a loophole. So the Office of Intellectual Property states that because I'm an employee of the University of New Hampshire, everything that I invent is owned by the university. And they have rights to patent, license it, manufacture, whatever. But if I come to a workshop, you know, like those U-mount things, oh, they're kind of cool, right? If I present that and I show this in a public meeting, guess what? It becomes scholarly, it becomes prior art. So once you're in a public meeting, like this is public, right? And I'm showing at a conference, I'm showing how to make something, it can no longer be patentable. Because when they see it on the internet or they see, I'm so glad you're recording this, right? Because it means that it was presented as prior art and therefore not eligible for patents. So the thing is that I want to sell books, right? And, you know, materials. I want all of you to go back and make stuff. It's kind of like the chocolate chip cookie recipe that Neiman Marcus had, I guess, and didn't want to give that away. And somebody bought it and then put it up on the internet, and everybody has their chocolate chip recipe. So, and here's the other thing is that when you patent something, you spend
10 minutes. There is Willkomm.
Okay. When you patent something, it takes away from who you really are. If your dream and your goal is to make stuff and love people, then you should just make stuff and love people. If your dream is to make a lot of money and patent stuff and manufacture, then go ahead and patent a few things and go ahead and manufacture. But that would take me away. So every year I invent or I create over 100 different items every year. So you come to this workshop, all right, I think you said you came to one that I did at Crossroads, right? And wouldn't you agree that every time you come to one of my sessions, I have new stuff all the time? All the time, because I'm always discovering new ways of doing this and doing that, and always being inspired about, you know, the different challenges. Now, my audio is down here. All right, we've got one more activity. I want you to pull out those big long boards. Actually, we got two more activities. We are going to make a scan and read station. Oh, I'm sorry, these rubber feet, we want to put these rubber feet on, but you only get one shot at this. And I'm going to show you, you've got to be really careful, because when you start to tear the rubber feet off, if you don't do it right, the paper is going to tear. You don't want that. If that starts to happen, you stop. And then you put your side, you put the side of your thumb, don't use, okay, and you just start to lift these up. Okay. Okay, that's lifting up. If the paper starts to tear, stop and try going around the other edge. And what you're doing is you want to put a rubber foot on all four corners so that it grips onto the table. So now we got the rubber feet. Now, if you can't find these rubber feet, what I do is I will go to Michael's, and Michael's will sell these ugly colors of foamy. So it's called Foamies, F-O-A-M-I-E. Darcy also makes it. It's a peel and stick foam material, and that provides some slip resistance. Comes in all different colors, and so you peel off the backing and you just stick it on the bottom of your acrylic. So you can do that too. In my MacGyver kit, I do. Come on up. You only need one? Here, I peeled it off for you.
So awesome. We tried several.
Yes. All right. So you're going to need your 2 binder clips, and you've got a little piece here. This is going to be one of your stoppers. You're going to need that. You're going to need your clever cutter. I need a board. Can somebody grab a board off the back and bring it up? All right. So what we're going to make is we're going to be making a scan and read station. And those of you who are at home, we're going to make yours for you, and so that, and we can send it to you so that you have it. It was just too big; it wouldn't fit inside of that envelope. But these can be literally made in about a minute. And what you're going to do is you're going to look at your board, and you've got 2 black lines up here. So find your 2 black lines, and you're going to take your clever cutter and you're going to stick it in that groove, and you're going to slide all the way down. And you got your second black line, stick it in that groove. We're just making a score line, right? That's what we're doing. So everybody put those 2 score lines, slide it into that black, yeah, you have a black line, and yep, slide it all the way down. All right, so it should bend in like this. Okay, now what you're going to do is you're going to line that score line. You're going to feel that score line, that bumpy part. You're going to line that up off the edge, and you're going to break down, right? So you're going to break it there. All right, now you get 1 shot at this. Okay, see how I folded this over a little bit? See where that black line is? I'm going to take my clever cutter. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to stop when I come right close to this black line, this part here. I'm going to put my clever cutter and I'm just going to release up to here. And I'm going to stop because I have to make my box out of that. So you're going to make a, okay, on this side, on the inside, you're going to come all the way down. We're going to go across it and you're going to stop right at this line. So everybody do that. Here's my black line. I folded this in and I'm going to stop with my clever cutter once I come to this line. Yep, because then once I score that, what I can do is I can take my binder clip and clip that over. Then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm only going to come until I come to this line and then I'm going to stop, right? And I'm going to take my binder clip. So that gets folded over to the outside. And then go ahead and attach your binder clips on the two sides. Yep. Well, we usually do it on the outside. We do the release on the
I
outside.
made a mistake. See how I went
No,
too far?
no.
Instead of there?
Oh yeah, you did go a little too far, but
I know, I
it'll
couldn't
still
stop
work.
once I kept going. And then here, I
Yep.
just need to
You
stop.
go on, yeah, stop when you get to that line.
Gotta stop myself.
There you go. Okay, now put your binder clip there. You passed? You passed? You passed? Okay. All right, now we're going to bring our box up. And you're going to take your book and just open it to any page. And we're going to put it perpendicular inside the box. And you can go ahead and turn your camera on. Because if you don't have Seeing AI, that's all right. So what I'm doing is I'm lining this up so that it's capturing my page. Okay, but if I'm blind, now I can see this through the camera. So that's great. So it's going to read that document. Now I have to put a stopper. So if I'm blind, I know that I have to shift it until it comes in contact with the edge of the phone. So there I put my stopper, I peel and stuck my stopper. So now if I'm blind, I'm going to feel, oh, I got to line it up like this. Bing. I always know that it's lined up perfectly because I can put 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper in there and it's always going to capture it. So that's what your stopper is. So everybody has their stopper? That's that orange stopper.
So how do I get
Okay.
it lined up?
Open up to a page. You need a page
That is, okay.
so that it can read it, okay? All right, and it has to go in here. So it has to slide in all the way perpendicular to the left because if you're blind,
Yes.
yes, okay?
So where does
Right
my
there.
stopper go?
So your stopper is going to go right here. So then once you put your stopper in, from now on, you're going to slide it here and open it up and it'll always line up perfectly.
Thank you.
Okay?
Okay.
So you're going to peel and stick it.
Okay. Peel and stick right there.
Yeah, but what happened? All of a sudden,
I don't know.
is that on Zoom?
No idea. Let me close this out.
Yeah, open up your camera.
Okay, there's that.
Oh, no. Your camera, where's your, oh, there's your lens. Okay,
I
That's
don't know,
weird.
that's not-
Oh,
wait a
it's
minute,
on-
good.
there we go. That's it. It got switched. All right, so we're sliding it over here.
Yeah, this is.
Okay.
the one that I-
All
Okay.
right, I'm just gonna slide this a little bit.
Yeah.
There we
show me
go.
Then the stopper goes right
Yep,
here.
flush against there, yep. There you go.
Okay.
So from now on, you're blind, you know, you put that in there, you're gonna go.
I
Okay,
love that.
and I open it up and it lines up perfectly.
Thank you.
There
That
you
is
go.
Wonderful.
Yes. Where's your stopper? Yeah, does it have tape on it? Yeah. Yeah, there you go. There's your stopper. And this has to go on the outside. Yeah, so that it doesn't collapse down in. Because the whole thing wraps around the outside. She got hers right. Yep, you got yours right there.
I'm special.
Here we go. All right, so go ahead and stick your phone up there. Okay, turn your camera on. Oh, you got the Seeing AI. Okay,
Adapting a
perfect.
Plastic chair 3, adapting a 3D
all right,
wall.
so
Plastic chair. The white
you're gonna
plastic
line
chairs
that up
can be
right
found
there.
all over the world. Adapting a Larson, Mader and
So there you go. You're gonna slide it until it hits here, and then you know that you have it lined up perfectly.
Okay.
Okay? Yep. Does that work in Vision? Okay. Oh, that's cool. So now look what I'm doing with the iPad. I'm going to turn camera on. And now I have an iPad on top, not an iPhone. But look, my stopper, this is what's like really cool. So let's say you have a student with an iPad and not an iPhone. Now look what I'm going to do with my book. I'm putting my book in, or my 8.5 by 11. There we go. You see how that's lining up just perfectly with an iPad? So now you can use it with both an iPad and an iPhone. You just turn your iPad the different direction and you turn your book inside. So I designed this so that my students who were blind could do this all independently. Right now, we're going to make it portable. And so what you're going to do is you're going to lay that box down in front of you. Okay, we're going to make a score line on the inside of the box. So everybody's got this laying up, right? Okay, in front of them. And make sure everybody's got that laying in front of them. All right, great. Oh, yours are not laying down. We need yours to lay down because you only get one shot. So I'm pulling this clip off. I'm pulling this clip off. And now I'm eyeballing this and I'm sliding my clever cutter on the inside all the way down because now look what I can do. I can fold this all up. And now this will fit in a backpack. Top to bottom, but you have to do it on the inside, not on the outside. That's why I had all of you put it on the, yep. No, because you did this score line on the inside versus the outside. So now I put it back up and it doesn't collapse. See that? That's why you do a score line on the inside. Now it can fan over. And what I do, you can take a rubber band, or if you're strong enough with your binder clips, right? Put one on one end. And then I clip the other one on. And now I have a portable scan and read station that you can just drop into the backpack, drop it into an envelope, you can ship it out. Pretty simple, right? Oh, you're using that as a carrier to carry everything home. Yeah. That's a great idea. All right, now you all have an industrial twist tie in your kit. And hopefully you all have a pen. This is page 34 of showing you everything that you can do with one of these portable, flexible industrial twist ties. So this is folded in half. I want you to take your two ends and I want you to just bend over the two ends like a claw like this. You're going to do one a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right. All right. And we are going to take a pen. We first have to find a pen. All right, great, I got a pen. All right, we stick our pen in here. Everybody's got their pen stuck in? Oh, yours is way too far over. You're just, yeah, just a little bit at the end. Because what you have to do is once you have your pen in there, you're going to take your hand and this piece is going to wrap around in between your left and right. So everybody, eyes on screen, look what I'm doing. I'm holding it like this and pulling it forward. Everybody got that? Great. Okay. And now what I'm going to do is I've got my pen facing downward. Now I'm going to twist this and rotate this so that I can then bend this like this and I can slide my hand in here. So this is one of the things in terms of writing. I can create a writing aid. I can hold objects with that. I'm going to show you a few other things. So this gentleman, he slides his hand in. He uses the Apple Pencil. And so he spreads it apart a little bit and he'll slide his hand in there. This is page 34. I don't think they have air conditioning that works in this room. I think it's just a fan. I'm not feeling, anybody feeling any air? All right. So here's an example of.
So we created this device to help me hold the stylus properly. It's basically just an industrial twist tie that's bent around the stylus in two places. the benefit of the industrial twist tie is it's an everyday material that's easy to find, it's relatively inexpensive. And I can slide it onto my hand, and it gives me a very natural feel with the pencil or the Apple Pen. The other benefit is that because it's a flexible material, you can really change the angle of the Apple Pencil if you wanted to hold it in any sort of different way or different angle. It allows you to hold the pen very upright or there's an angle on the pen, which can change sort of blank thickness when you're using it. It's easy to adjust how close to surface you're drawing on. You can make the pencil much farther away, much closer to the surface.
All right, one last video. And that is showing you like all the cool things you can do with the industrial twist tie. There's like 36 different things you can do. You can look in the book on that. But I discovered T-joints. So if I put a T-joint in there, it's a 2-minute video.
All right, this is an amazing T-joint. Notice it's the only joint that has 3 holes. That's why it makes it so amazing.
So you can get these T-joints at just about any hardware store. You want the 1/2-inch CPVC pipe. But look at this. So if you've got somebody with low tone, the hands are dropping, this is going to hold the hand up. And then look at all the things that you can put into this T-joint.
All right, so now let's talk about all the things that can go into this T-joint. So if you look under here, you see how the spoon can slide underneath there, right? So now it becomes a universal contributing, okay? Now I'm gonna take this out. Now see here, I can put this in, and look, I can rotate it. So now I've got the adapted stylus.
So this whole thing on with this stylus that's made out of Instamorph.
Up to whatever position, right? So somebody using the stylus position, or I can rotate it like here, right? And somebody using the style in this position. That's what.
Because the finger is touching the paper clip. So this is a larger paper clip, not the smaller ones. So when you touch the metal and the metal is wrapped around the stylus at the end, the metal conducts the electricity to the metal stylus. And so that's why you have to touch something metal. And you can rotate it 360.
Here's the clothespin. And the clothespin, we can put a variety of different things in here, whether it be a pen. The other nice thing is that this rotates back and forth, right? And we can rotate this to any position. That's great. So here's an example of what's been placed in here, but you can see what I'm making them now is having interchangeable joints. This is another type of clothespin. Up here in terms of writing, I can again rotate this into any position that I want. I can extend this outward because this is rubber, so it grips onto that. So that's really kind of cool that this fits beautifully inside of having CPVC pipe. I can take that off. I can put a paintbrush in here. Again, something with low tone, right? Painting. And you can rotate it into any position that you need it. So those are at least 4 things that you can put inside a T-joint and combine it with an industrial.
So something, you know, again, real simple with your industrial twist tie. People who are low talkers, right? I can attach the microphone up here with a pocket talker. I can do that with the little clip. Head drop, I can bend this to hold the head up. So I just encourage you to explore all the things you can do with these industrial twist ties. And I wanted to mention what I did was color coding. So you're trying to find something quickly in the book. Unlike book two, book two was how to make stuff with corrugated plastic, how to make stuff with lock line. So, but book three is all about themes like making for recreation and relaxation, for musical instruments and toys and, you know, those kind of cool things. Making for blind and low vision, making for upper extremity, grasping solutions, right? So going through making and mounting for iPads and cell phones, reading and writing solutions that you can make, hands-free solutions, hands-free mounting, eating and drinking, self-care, teeth brushing, nail trimming, right? Adapting 101 ways you can adapt a plastic chair, those plastic chairs, a seatbelt gripper, keyboard mounts. So you get really good at understanding the colors and understanding that each chapter is color coded, coordinated. So it's another quick way of accessing the information. All right, you wanted time to do the evaluations? Okay. Last minute, I just wanted to say that you can, I have my business card up here, but if you want to ever email me, text me, call me, if you want to pick my brains or you want to come up with a solution for somebody that you're working with, I'm always looking for challenges and opportunities. The goal, though, is that if I make it for you and I send it to you, you have to take pictures, because if it works for that person, think about this. If it works, it might benefit other people, and then we could replicate it. And I could do the plans up and I could get the plans out to other people on making that. So just want to let you know that that's available. Does anybody have any like last minute questions or? Yes. The Instamorph. So I fill up the cavity with the Instamorph, and yeah, so you're just mixing up. We're gonna go Instamorph, just so you see how easy it is. So I take these little plastic beads. So we're gonna take some hot water here and we're gonna pour Insta. Sorry about that. Pour in here. Take a look at it. Now that the cup, we'll go down there. Okay. See how that's turning clear? And as soon as it turns clear, we're gonna just, that's not quite clear yet. Okay. Okay, now I can push it here. Okay, so I'm going to just take this out like this. And now, I'm just going to squeeze it. And now this plastic, this is nice and pliable. I can shake this around, I can create a writing aid with it, I can put it on anything. I then run it under cold water and it turns white and hardens instantly. And so that's the demonstration of how easy it is to work with Instamorph. And Instamorph, you can reheat it over and over. It's biodegradable, it's non-toxic, it's a fabulous material to work with. And you should invite me back for part two of making. And then we'll do stuff with Instamorph.